When you walk into a traditional crime scene, you kind of have this expectation of precision.
Yeah.
That's almost like engineering.
Right, yeah. Like it's a science.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a broken window, the forensics team dusts for fingerprints, they measure the trajectory of a piece of glass or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the investigator just points and says, there is the evidence. It's clean, guilty or not guilty, tangible.
Yeah, it's a comforting idea. We like things to be visible like that.
Yeah.
We want our conflicts to be neatly categorized and filed away in an evidence locker.
Right.
Where we could just look at them and understand exactly what happened.
But then, you step into the world of modern pop culture, specifically the arena of celebrity feuds and the music that soundtracks them.
Oh, yes. Totally different ballgame.
Right. Suddenly that forensic toolkit is completely useless. We're looking at an investigative landscape that is just incredibly murky.
Yeah.
The evidence isn't a fingerprint. It's a cryptic lyric about a knife in the back. It's a strategically timed tweet about a high school movie. Or it's a supposedly mundane dispute over touring staff that somehow explodes into a global news story.
It is the absolute definition of investigative muddy waters. I mean, you're dealing with art that is designed to look like a diary entry, but is actually a highly orchestrated piece of public relations.
Absolutely. And that's why we are looking at a massive, just undeniably colossal pop culture artifact today.
Yeah, we really are.
We have a stack of sources here to help us dissect Taylor Swift's track Bad Blood, specifically focusing on the 2015 remix featuring Kendrick Lamar.
Such a huge moment.
Right. When this song dropped, it didn't just break viewing records. It sparked endless tabloid speculation, created a genuine media frenzy, and, bizarrely enough, generated highly analytical academic feminist critiques.
Which is wild to think about for a pop song.
Yeah. So our mission for this deep dive is to look way beyond that incredibly catchy stadium pop hook. We need to figure out how a song about a broken friendship became a primary text for understanding celebrity mechanics in the 21st century.
Exactly.
So, okay, let's unpack this.
Well, the story of Bad Blood is really a masterclass in how an artist uses personal narrative combined with high-gloss production to entirely control media narratives.
Oh, hi.
It is strategic brilliance, masked as a pop anthem.
Yeah.
But to understand how that strategy works, we can't start with the gossip.
We have to start with the sound.
We have to start with the sound, yeah.
Because leading up to 2012, Taylor Swift was definitively a country artist. We saw her start to push those boundaries on her album Red, which had this eclectic mix of pop and rock styles that really made critics question her country music identity.
Mm-hmm.
But how did the musical backdrop of Bad Blood specifically set the stage for this kind of, aggressive confrontation?
So Red was the bridge, but her fifth studio album, 1989, which was named after her birth year and released in late 2014, that was the destination.
Right.
She explicitly described it as her first, official pop album.
Oh, yeah. She was heavily inspired by 1980s synth pop.
Exactly. This was a complete unapologetic departure from the acoustic guitars and the fiddles of her past.
Yeah.
She teamed up with Swedish pop titans Max Martin and Shellback, who co-wrote and produced this specific track.
And I always loved her detailed storytelling on those early records. The acoustic guitar just feels so intimate, like she's telling you a secret. But when I listen to Bad Blood, it feels like she moved from a cozy acoustic coffee shop to a neon-lit, aggressive arena.
It really does.
It's jarring. The production relies so heavily on synthesizers, programmed drum machines, and these pulsing bass lines.
And that jarring feeling is highly intentional. The instrumentation tells a story before she even opens her mouth.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The track actually opens with her multi-tracked vocals singing the refrain a cappella, which immediately commands attention.
Right.
Then it drops into this driving arrangement. You have keyboard tones, synth arpeggiators, which are basically synthesizers programmed to play a rapid repeating sequence of notes.
Which builds this underlying nervous tension.
Exactly.
It almost sounds like a ticking clock in the background.
Exactly. It creates momentum. And then you have that heavy beat. The New York Times noted that the booming drums evoked the Billy Squier beats that are so often sampled in classic hip-hop.
Okay.
Think of that classic stomping arena rock rhythm, boom, bip, boom, boom.
I have to be honest, though. Reviewers at the time, like Jem Aswad from Billboard, described the production as simplistic and compared it to Gwen Stefani's Hollaback Girl.
Yeah, that was a common comparison.
And other critics just called it a bitter stomp. I kind of agree with them. Doesn't this simplistic stomping beat actually drown out the emotional nuance and storytelling detail that made her famous in the first place?
Well, That is the exact tension that divided critics. And it's a totally valid critique if you're looking for a traditional Taylor Swift narrative song.
Right.
But let's look at the function of the sound. That stark, pulsing arrangement was the deliberate canvas designed to project anger rather than passive regret.
Okay, I see.
In her previous acoustic work, a betrayal might be framed with melancholy. The acoustic guitar invites vulnerability and sadness.
Yeah, like you want to cry to it.
Right, but a programmed drum machine and a deep, pulsing bass line, that invites confrontation.
So you're saying the beat itself is a weapon?
Sasha Geffen, from Consequence of Sound, noted that this production allowed Swift to sing, quote, through gritted teeth.
Oh, wow.
If she's going to sing about being deeply, irreparably angry, a delicate piano melody would completely undermine the message.
That makes sense.
The music literally sets the listener up for a high-stakes showdown.
Through gritted teeth. That is such a perfect description.
Yeah.
If the production is designed to project that kind of blinding anger, she couldn't exactly sing her usual hyper-specific lyrics over it.
No, not at all.
So how did her writing style have to adapt to match that aggression? Let's look at the actual text, because the contrast between her past songwriting and this track is fascinating.
It's a complete shift in methodology. Let's start with the core contrast of past and present in the refrain.
Okay.
She sings, "Kazi's baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad love."
It's such a stark dichotomy. You have extreme passionate affection, mad love, pivoting instantly to absolute hostility, bad blood.
Right.
There's no gray area here. It's 0 to 100.
The phrasing is entirely binary, which mirrors the stomping, undeniable production. And notice the assignment of blame in the very next line.
What is it?
So take a look what you've done. Kaz baby, now we got bad blood.
You know, when I take a look what you've done, it strikes me how passive the narrator is making themselves out to be. She takes absolutely zero responsibility for the fallout.
None.
The narrator is framing this as an entirely one-sided betrayal. It's all, look what you did to me.
It's absolute assignment of blame, which is a hallmark of unfiltered anger.
Right.
And that one-sided betrayal is then described using incredibly intense physical metaphors to represent emotional trauma.
Oh, yeah. The lyrics get dark here.
She sings, "Did you think we'd be fine? Still got scars on my back from your knife, so don't think it's in the past. These kind of wounds, they last and they last."
Okay, wait. Bullet holes. Knives in the back. We know from the lore, which we'll get into, that we are essentially talking about a professional dispute.
Right.
A disagreement over backup dancers. Reading these lyrics, it makes the narrator sound almost totally disconnected from reality.
I mean, yeah.
It feels incredibly, almost comically out of proportion, doesn't it?
Well, what's fascinating here is if you look at it purely literally, yes, it's entirely out of proportion.
Yeah.
But what pop music does so effectively is rely on hyperbole. Pop is the language of outsized emotion.
Oh, sure.
When you get your heart broken in high school, it literally feels like the end of the world. Pop music validates that feeling by matching its scale.
So the exaggeration is the point.
Beyond just being dramatic, there's a deeper mechanical brilliance to these broad strokes. Think about her earlier songs. She was known for hyper-specific narrative details.
Right, like a Left Behind scarf.
A specific Tuesday, a particular conversation on a front porch. Bad Blood is completely devoid of those specifics. By stripping away the narrative details, she created a blank slate.
Oh, I see.
The metaphor of a knife in the back is universal. It allows millions of listeners to project their own personal betrayals, their own lost friendships, onto the song.
That makes a lot of sense. The hyperbole is what makes it an arena chant rather than a page from her personal diary.
Exactly.
It becomes a sonic vessel for other people's anger. If she had sung about tour contracts, nobody would sing along.
Definitely not.
Which brings us to the bridge, and arguably the most famous metaphor in the song regarding the insincerity of an apology.
Oh yeah. Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes. You say sorry just for show. If you live like that, you live with ghosts.
Let's break down the mechanics of that metaphor. You have a fatal, catastrophic wound, a bullet hole.
Right.
And the other person is offering a tiny, superficial plastic fix, a Band-Aid.
It highlights a complete breakdown in communication and shared reality.
It's almost insulting to offer a Band-Aid for a bullet hole. It shows that the betrayer doesn't even understand the gravity of what they did.
The betrayer thinks a simple sorry is sufficient, while the narrator feels they have been fundamentally destroyed.
Yeah.
And yet, despite this absolute destruction, there is a lingering internal conflict. The song doesn't just end in pure triumphant dismissal.
Well, what do you mean?
She repeats, And I can't think of letting you go. I can't think of anything but you.
I found that line so confusing at first.
Yeah.
It's such a contradiction. The narrator is furious, screaming about scars and bullet holes, but also obsessively tethered to the memory of this person.
It perfectly captures the psychological loop of a severe falling out. The anger itself becomes a bond.
Oh, wow.
It keeps you tied to the person who hurt you because you are so focused on the injustice of it all.
So the lyrics are intentionally vague, broad, and emotionally explosive. And because they were a blank slate, the public, the press, and the fans frantically scrambled to fill in those missing narrative blanks.
Oh, absolutely.
The song was an empty canvas, and the media absolutely covered it in gossip.
It was a spectacle that really began with the rollout of the album. In a September 2014 cover story for Rolling Stone, Swift revealed the intended meaning of the song.
Right.
She explicitly stated it was about a fellow female artist whom she thought was a close friend. She claimed this person attempted to, quote, sabotage an entire arena tour by hiring a bunch of staff out from under her.
And what's wild is her justification for telling the magazine this. She specifically noted in that interview that she wanted to make it clear the song was about a lost friendship, not a lost lover.
Right.
Because she knew the press would immediately assume it was about her dating life, which was heavily scrutinized at the time. She was trying to protect her romantic life from the tabloids.
Her intent was to steer the narrative. But in doing so, she opened a completely different Pandora's box.
Did she ever? The public interpretation went into absolute overdrive.
I really did.
Just days after that Rolling Stone interview hit the stands, TMZ published a report pointing to 3 dancers who allegedly left Swift's tour after giving 30 days' notice to join Katy Perry's tour. Then, Katy Perry sent out a very cryptic tweet referencing the movie Mean Girls. She wrote, "Watch out for the Regina George in sheep's clothing."
And for those unfamiliar with the cultural shorthand, Regina George is the ultimate manipulative high school bully who hides behind a veneer of popularity and sweetness.
Exactly. It was a direct accusation that Swift's sweet public persona was a cover for a cutthroat operator.
Yeah.
And later, Perry made comments at the MTV Video Music Awards referencing artists who capitalize on the takedown of a woman. The internet basically exploded.
Oh yeah, we were suddenly looking at the defining pop culture feud of the 2010s.
Right.
And what's crucial to analyze here is Swift's strategic pivot once the fire got too hot. In a subsequent GQ interview in October 2015, she walked it back slightly.
What did she say?
She stated, "I never said anything that would point a finger in the specific direction of one specific person." She reiterated that she framed it about a lost friendship simply so the media wouldn't attribute the song to any of her ex-boyfriends.
I am just marveling at this PR chess match.
It's brilliant.
She successfully diverted the press from her dating life, which was a huge victory for her at the time, but she created a monster headline-dominating feud narrative instead. Did she lose control of the narrative, or was the feud exactly what she wanted?
Well, journalist Chuck Klosterman offered a brilliant analysis of this exact dynamic.
Okay.
He theorized that by clarifying the inspiration was a friend, but steadfastly refusing to name names, Swift propagated the existence of a highly interesting rumor.
Right.
And this rumor offered massive added value to the song. It wasn't just a catchy pop track anymore.
It was a puzzle.
Exactly. It was a piece of interactive gossip. Klosterman argues it was a masterstroke of narrative control that made the song infinitely more interesting to the general public than if she had just released it with no backstory.
It's incredible. The media frenzy acted like a massive free marketing engine, fueling the song's popularity.
Oh, entirely.
But even with all that tabloid heat, the critical reception to the original album version of Bad Blood was highly polarized. The gossip wasn't enough to make it a universal critical hit.
No, it wasn't.
To actually push this song to #1 and secure its legacy, Swift needed a game changer.
The critical dichotomy on the album version really is stark. You had reviewers like Adam Markovitz at Entertainment Weekly praising it as an anthemic, chant-along fight song.
Right.
The Toronto Star called it a proper keeper with a cheerleader-ish shout-along.
But the detractors were loud. We mentioned the production being called a bitter stomp.
Yeah.
Spin and the Los Angeles Times criticized the production as bland and repetitive. Reviewers called her vocal delivery merely petulant.
Some even pointed out an ironic similarity to Katy Perry's own stadium anthem Roar.
Ouch. And retrospectively, major publications like Rolling Stone and Paste have actually ranked the album version of Bad Blood among Swift's absolute worst songs.
They felt it lacked the humanity, the warmth, and the specificity of her best work. The song's emotional tone was so divisive that it even invited reinvention. Ryan Adams, the alt country singer-songwriter, did a full track-by-track cover album of 1989.
Oh, right.
His version of Bad Blood completely dismantled the song. He replaced the sinister, stalking programmed beats with gentle acoustic guitar strumming and live drums.
What does that actually do to the feel of the song?
It completely strips away the hyperactivity and the anger. Suddenly, Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes doesn't sound like an accusation shouted across a stadium.
Wow.
It sounds like a melancholic realization murmured in a quiet room. Some critics actually preferred his version, arguing it turned a petulant stomp into a nuanced coffeehouse-style reflection on loss.
Which proves the bones of a good song are there, even if the aggressive pop production grated on some critics.
Exactly.
But Swift didn't release an acoustic version to radio to win over the critics. She doubled down.
She did.
She went in the exact opposite direction and enlisted Kendrick Lamar.
This collaboration was the catalyst the song needed. Swift was a massive fan of Lamar's 2012 track Backseat Freestyle. She reached out to him personally, and according to Lamar, the vibe was right in the studio, and they collaborated seamlessly.
So the 2015 remix drops, and it completely revamps the track. Producer Ilya Salmanzadeh added a heavier percussive arrangement.
Yeah.
We're talking trap beats, fluctuating hi-hats, resonant kick drums.
Let's define that sound for a moment. Trap beats rely heavily on deep, booming sub-bass kicks that you feel in your chest.
Right.
And those fluctuating hi-hat, that rapid, ticking, rolling cymbal sound, create a jittery forward momentum. It takes the stomping 80s beat and modernizes it, injecting it with urgency and tension.
And over that new tension, Kendrick Lamar adds 2 massive rap verses. He even introduces a new chant to the bridge, "You forgive, you forget, but you never let it go."
Yes.
That line became a massive crowd favorite on her tools. But I have to ask, did Kendrick Lamar essentially save Bad Blood from being a critical flop?
If we look at the synthesis of the reviews, the remix fundamentally changed the critical consensus.
Right.
It was suddenly appearing on Best Songs of 2015 lists from publications like NME and Pop Matters. The LA Times praised Lamar's versatility, proving he could pivot from the complex, politically charged free jazz of his album to Pimp a Butterfly to the glossiest pop imaginable without losing his edge.
Right.
The Guardian called the remix a masterstroke.
What was it about his delivery that fixed the problems critics had with the original?
Lamar has a very dense, intricate, tongue-tripping delivery. He packs a massive amount of syllables and rhythm into a very short space.
Okay.
This provided the exact counterweight needed to balance Swift's tense, repetitive stomping chorus. Where she was broad and anthemic, he was sharp, rhythmic, and complex.
So give it texture.
Exactly. It took a track that felt a bit hollow to some and gave it gravitas.
And the legacy of that collaboration extends all the way to recent history. In 2019, Swift had that massive, highly publicized dispute with Scooter Braun over the ownership of her back catalog, her masters.
Right.
This led to her ongoing, unprecedented project of re-recording her first 6 albums to reclaim her work.
Which brings us to the 2023 release of 1989 Taylor's version.
And she didn't leave the remix behind. Swift was incredibly public about her gratitude that Kendrick Lamar respectfully returned to the studio in 2023 to re-record his exact verses so she could fully own her work.
It's really cool.
It shows this enduring mutual respect between these 2 absolute titans of the industry.
It solidified the track, not just as a 2015 pop hit, but as a crucial piece of her catalog that she fought to reclaim.
Yeah.
But if the remix was the sonic climax of the Bad Blood era, the visual spectacle that accompanied it was the cultural climax. The music video didn't just break records. It sparked a massive, polarizing sociological debate.
Let's paint the picture of this video because calling it a music video almost feels like a disservice. Directed by Joseph Kahn, it premiered at the 2015 Billboard Music Awards.
It is basically a hyper-stylized, high-budget mini-movie.
Right. It features Swift playing a character named Catastrophe and Selena Gomez playing her partner-turned-nemesis, Arson. They are fighting over a mysterious briefcase in this fictionalized, futuristic London. Arson betrays Catastrophe, kicks her out a window, and the rest of the video is Catastrophe training an army of women to exact her revenge.
The visual production heavily referenced sci-fi and action blockbusters. You can see direct visual nods to Sin City with the high-contrast lighting, Kill Bill with the martial arts training sequences, Tron with the glowing neon aesthetics, and Mad Max.
Oh, yeah, totally.
It was a complete departure from the lo-fi, narrative-driven visuals of her country era. And it was a massive commercial success, breaking the Vivo 24-hour record with over 20 million views in a single day.
But the real talking point wasn't the explosions or the CGI. It was the ensemble cast. The media dubbed them the Squad.
The Squad, yes.
It was this overwhelming lineup of female singers, actresses, and supermodels. We're talking Lena Dunham, Haley Steinfeld, Gigi Hadid, Ellie Goulding, Cara Delevingne, Zendaya, Hayley Williams, Karlie Kloss, Jessica Alba, Mariska Hargitay, Ellen Pompeo, Cindy Crawford.
That's a long list.
It was like the Avengers. But if the superhero team was heavily gatekept by a VIP list from the Met Gala...
And that VIP list analogy is exactly what triggered the sociological debate. The video was critically polarizing on a cultural and academic level.
Really?
Oh, yeah. To view this impartially, we have to look at the wide spectrum of reactions. On one side, some viewers and critics praised the video as an empowering, female-led action movie pastiche.
Right.
It showed women being strong, capable, physically imposing, and united in a genre usually dominated by men.
I can see that. Seeing women cast as action heroes instead of damsels in distress is a great visual.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, critics were quick to point out a perceived hypocrisy. If the song is famously rumored to be about tearing down another female pop star, Katy Perry,
Right.
How empowering is it really to assemble an army of famous women to visually act out that feud? It feels like weaponized popularity.
And feminist scholars began actively debating these exact implications. Scholars like Judy L. Isaacson and Nahed El-Tantawi critique the entire Squad concept.
What did they say?
They argued it functioned as an exclusive Mean Girls-style clique. They posited that it promoted something called a post-feminist girlfriend culture.
Okay, let's pause there. What exactly does post-feminist girlfriend culture mean in this context? Break that down for us.
Essentially, this theory suggests that instead of feminism being an intersectional movement about equal rights and dismantling systemic barriers for all women, it's been commodified into a trendy, exclusive girl club.
Interesting.
It becomes about aesthetics, wealth, and proximity to power. These scholars argue that this version of empowerment is strictly reserved for the wealthy, the famous, and the conventionally attractive.
Right.
Alienating everyday fans under the guise of female solidarity. It's empowerment as a brand, not a movement.
That makes total sense. It's like saying feminism means being in my cool club, and if you want a supermodel, you aren't invited.
Exactly.
And the academic critiques didn't stop there, did they?
No, they didn't. Scholar Hannelore Roth brought in a different angle entirely, looking specifically at Kendrick Lamar's role in the video. He plays a character called Welvin DeGrate.
Right.
And he's positioned almost like an overseer or ringleader, while the women train and fight in these simulated office settings.
So what was the critique there?
Roth's argument was that casting Lamar in this specific role simply mirrored violent, pre-modern patriarchal structures.
Meaning what, exactly?
Meaning that even in a video supposedly celebrating female empowerment and female vengeance, the visual hierarchy still placed a man at the center, watching from a desk, nodding in approval as women perform physical labor and violence.
Oh, wow.
Roth argued it inadvertently replicated a male boss overseeing female subordinates, entirely undercutting the feminist messaging the video was trying to project.
I find myself genuinely wrestling with that. On one hand, having Kendrick in the video makes sense because he's on the remix and they are collaborating.
Yeah.
On the other hand, visually, having him sit behind a desk while an army of women fight for his approval definitely sends a conflicting subconscious message.
It really does.
It's fascinating how a 4-minute pop video can contain so many sociological contradictions.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it demonstrates the sheer cultural gravity Swift possessed at this point in her career. Her stylistic choices, her casting decisions, her marketing rollouts, they were no longer just pop entertainment.
Right.
They were subjects of intense, polarizing academic and sociological scrutiny. Every frame was analyzed for intent and impact.
Which is just staggering when you step back and look at the whole journey.
It really is.
We started with an acoustic country artist who decided to experiment with 1980s synth pop and heavy arena rock drum beats to project anger instead of sadness.
Yeah.
She writes a vague, hyperbolic lyric about bullet holes and knives in the back, totally devoid of her usual storytelling details. The media goes wild connecting the dots to a backup dancer dispute.
And then the remix.
Right. She brings in a hip-hop visionary to give the track the gravitas it needed to hit #1. And it all culminates in a culturally contested blockbuster video that academics are writing research papers about.
It is a breathtaking evolution for a single piece of music. And it leaves us with something really profound to ponder about the modern music industry as a whole.
Lay it on us.
Consider how Bad Blood essentially weaponized the pop music rollout. The song itself, the audio file you listen to, is only half the art.
Right.
The other half is the meticulously crafted real-world drama, the celebrity casting of the squad, the PR interviews that fuel rumors, the hidden Easter eggs in the lyrics.
Yeah.
This raises an important question for anyone consuming modern media. Is it possible that in the modern music era, the actual song is just the soundtrack to a much larger interactive reality show directed by the artist?
Oh, that completely changes how you experience it. The song is just the musical score to the movie she's directing in real life.
Yeah.
Which brings us right back to our crime scene tape from the beginning. We went in looking for clear fingerprints and tangible evidence, and we realized the artist was the one laying down the yellow tape the whole time, making sure we all gathered around to look exactly where she wanted us to.
She controlled the investigation from day one, and we all willingly played the part of the detectives.
Incredible. I highly encourage everyone listening to go play the Kendrick Lamar remix of Bad Blood again, with all of this new perspective in mind.
Definitely do that.
Listen to the tension in the synths, the hyperbole in the lyrics, the dense flow of the rap verses, and the sheer scale of the reality show it created. Thanks for unpacking it all with us on this deep dive. See you next time.